Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, everyone. I realize I just said that in a bit of a strange order, but we do live in a very, very diverse world, don't we? Everyone, welcome to the session today, and thank you so much for coming. My name's Scott. I'm the Managing Director, OET Interlocutor, and OET Teacher at Swoosh English. And I'm here today to welcome you all to this OET All-Star mock exam speaking session. So I hope everyone's doing really, really well. It's very nice to see everyone again today, and apologies for the slight delay in starting the class. There were a few technical issues that have since now been sorted out. The joys of modern streaming across various places across the internet. So I hope everyone's well. Let's start off by seeing who's in the sessions today on the Swoosh English channels, as well as the OET official channels as well. We have Lissy has joined us. Hello, Lissy. Welcome today, and thanks a lot for joining. We have Cal Pisces, a nice little star sign today. It says waiting. Well, wait no longer. You're in the session now. Asma says hello. Hello to Asma. We have Simangeli says hello Simangeli. We have Patricia. Hello to Patricia. And we have Rum Bidzai. Welcome to the session today, you guys. Thanks a lot for coming. Okay, so who else do we have today that's joined the session over on the OET channel? We have Hasina, Letty, Imran, Shihil, Asifa, Teresita, Talal, Kumunidu, we have Kaur, we have Nargis, we have Z. If I'm saying anyone's names wrong, I am so sorry. My firmest apologies to you. We have Thierry, we have Natir, we have Galen, we have May, we have Mai, Abdullah, Deepa, Hema, Latifa, Kat, and Dana so far over in this session. Dana, I am very well. I hope that you are doing so well too. Over on the YouTube channel, we have Krishna, we have Bharath, we have Rekha, we have Mitva, Rita, Oreo Faye, we have Deepa, we have Leah, we have Shinsi, Abwathi, we have Baba Femi, we have Rumbizai, we have Sita as well. Welcome to the session, everyone. Thanks a lot for coming, regardless of where you are in the world. So a bit about me. Well, as I said, I'm the OET, an OET teacher, OET interlocutor, and managing director of Swoosh English. I've been teaching English for many, many years, including my time when I lived in Melbourne, Australia, and worked as an OET interlocutor. And that was my first exposure to this wonderful exam. That is the OET exam. I specialized in exam preparation for many years myself, so I'm looking forward to getting into this mock speaking session today. So let's get started, guys. We've got a nice action-packed session today. Let's tell you all about what we're going through, regardless if you're new to the Swoosh English mock speaking exam sessions, or you've been here a few times before and we haven't seen each other for a good little while. So let's get started into today's session. What will we be doing and what will we be talking about today? Oh, I've left Rumbazai's comment on the screen. I'll just take that away right now. Okay, I think that view looks quite nice. Let's use it like that there, shall we? Okay, so what is the plan for today's session? Well, in today's session, we're going to learn and review the scoring criteria for OET speaking. Very, very important for your own progress in the exam, guys, is that you know exactly what to expect on the day of the exam when it comes to your OET speaking, and exactly what you're going to be assessed on. So ensure you pay attention today, go away and learn it if you don't know it already. You're going to take part in or listen to some OET role plays. It is a mock exam speaking session, so I want to give some lucky people a chance to do some mock exam speaking today. You can listen to feedback on student performance and even give your own. The more the merrier. Make this session as interactive as possible. I'm looking forward to speaking to you, as are my team. Keep an eye out for the messages from the Swoosh English team. They'll be very, very happy to get in contact with you. And then we'll have a brief Q&A at the very end if anyone has any questions that you want to answer about today's OET mock speaking session, about Swoosh English preparation, etc., etc. So make sure you stay to the very end, because I want to unveil a special offer to anyone who's looking to take OET Premium Preparation Provider or OET All-Star Preparation today. Reward you guys for coming into the session today. So there will be a discount code at the very end of the session offering 20% off selected OET courses. So stick to the end if you're looking to avail of that offer. So guys, I want to start speaking to all of you. I am speaking to all of you. But what I want to do is I want to know a few questions about you and your OET journey, your OET progress. It's not just about the exam today. I want to get to know you and where you are on your OET preparation. So the first question I have, if we can get our fingers ready, nice and warmed up, to type in the chat box, what do you plan to do when you pass your OET exam? Let me know what your plans are. Now, what I don't want to hear are things like, I plan to take the OSCE exam or the PLAB exam to move to the UK. I want to work as a nurse, as a doctor. Think deeper. Think about how you will feel and what you want to achieve in becoming a doctor or a nurse elsewhere in the world after you've taken your OET exam. So think about that big question, and please answer me in the chat box. I'm going to take a few answers and see what you have to do. Because the reason why I asked this is because I just want to know what your inspiration for taking this exam is, and what you want to do after you've passed it, and how you want your life to change, and how you want it to be different. So just a few comments, guys. What do you plan to do when you pass your OET exam? Think about the big reasons. Let me know, please. So Talal says, I want to submit my CPT exam for traveling to the UK. Talal wants to move to the UK. Very nice. Andre has the exam on December 18th. I've got that question coming in a minute. I'll answer that too. Paris has said, go to the UK. Viduni wants to go to the UK as well. And Paris wants to go to the UK. Very good. Oh, wow. We got a testimonial coming in here. I love these. Oluchi has said, hello, Scott. Come round to give you some hugs and say thank you for the speaking opportunity you gave me in September. I passed my OET. God bless you, Scott, for all you do. Thank you very much, Oluni, and congratulations on your OET success. Well done for me and the Swoosh English team. Okay, a couple more questions. Felicitas wants to move to the UK, and Ruth wants to apply as a nurse in the UK as well. Okay, so a lot of people want to move to the UK, which is absolutely lovely. Okay, Virgie has said, I want to start a new life in the UK. That's very nice. And Joanna has said, aside from being a nurse, I want to travel to Europe. Very good. Nabila has said, communicate effectively with all stakeholders. Great. That's what the OET exam's about. Effective communication in your job role. Thanks a lot, guys. So a lot of people here are aspiring to move to the UK as a nurse. Well, I hope that we can give you a bit of a step closer today to that goal in this speaking session. So now I want to know about you and your OET speaking. What is your biggest challenge with OET speaking? Think about your OET preparation. Think about the speaking practice you've been doing already at this point. Maybe you're brand new to OET preparation. Maybe you're still straddling, thinking, I'm thinking about getting assistance with a formal course with a premium preparation provider. I haven't quite decided yet. Or maybe you've been practicing already. I want to know what your biggest challenge with OET speaking is. It could even be just speaking in general in English. What do you find to be the most tricky thing? And what do you think is something that you would like to especially improve in? So once again, guys, throw a few comments into the chat box. I'll be very, very happy to answer a few of those. Very good. Okay. So a few other people on the YouTube feed have been talking about the previous question. Sogra has said fluency is hard. Okay. Raka has said conciseness and clarity. Now that's writing, guys. Let's talk about speaking. Namika has said timing. Remexo has said my confidence. Rumiza Saima has said fluency. Okay, of course, fluency is definitely quite tricky. I will occasionally make a slip up too. I'll tell you more about that very soon. Sawgraph fluency. Rita said expressing empathy. Keeping into time management, says Angel. Okay. Melvin has said transitioning. Lejanita has said a reluctant patient. Okay, how to deal with difficult patients, right? Sudha has said pitch and tone. And she said sometimes my thoughts are disorganized. All of these are common issues, guys, and they need to be addressed for your big OET exam by practicing the appropriate skills. Very, very, very important. Okay, so Kavita has said, when the sentences are long, I won't be able to plan the thing in 3 minutes. So keeping it concise and keeping it on point is very, very important, Kavita. Patricia said, how to gather information, how to get the appropriate information to get back to the patient in the case notes itself, right? And Joanna here has said intonation as well. All of these, guys, are valid concerns for the speaking exam, and they come up time and time and time again. So what is really important, of course, is today, by taking part in the speaking session today, either listening or speaking, but go away and do the work and building those skills to develop them, because you will be tested on them, and you need to make sure that you're able to produce it to the high enough level on the day of the exam to get the result that you want. Okay. Now, final question before we get into some criteria breakdown. I want to know who is a veteran OET student at this point, and who is brand new to OET preparation. So there are two sets of scoring criteria for the OET exam. Who can tell me what are those criteria, those two sets of criteria for the OET exam? Who knows their OET really well? Who is an OET nerd at this point? Who is an OET geek? Who knows it so well? I'm one of those people. Then again, I teach it, so I need to know it. But I want to know who knows the OET exam like the back of their hand. Throw your comments in. What are the two sets of scoring criteria for the OET exam? Let me know in the comments, please, guys. Anybody at all? Okay, yep, here they come. People know them. A lot of the YouTubers have said it already. Fantastic. A few of the Facebookers are coming in now, and a few of our own students on the Swoosh English channels are saying it too. Fantastic. Good. They are the linguistic criteria and the clinical communication criteria. So what exactly are these two sets of criteria, and how do they differ? Well, linguistic is the more general criteria for the OET exam, talking about general speaking skills, whereas clinical communication are speaking skills designed to reflect what you would do in a healthcare context in the exam, making the OET exam unique in that regard. So let's break down the linguistic criteria and the clinical communication criteria. And I'm going to give everyone a few tips to consider to hopefully maximize your scores in each of the areas of these criterion. Keep in mind, guys, that just learning the tips for each set of the criterion is not enough to pass your exam. You need to practice it. You need to get feedback on it. You need to repeat your practice by taking on board your suggestions from your feedback, reapplying it, see if you've improved, get more feedback, keep that cycle going and going and going until you get your B at the very, very end. But let's start off with some tips, because tips are still, of course, very, very, very helpful. So the first criteria here, I'm going to go full screen, is intelligibility, which is the impact of your pronunciation, intonation, accent, and how clearly your listener can hear and understand what you're saying. There's various elements here that are taken into consideration with that. They include your pronunciation, your ability to draw out your sounds in the English language, to replicate the various vowel sounds, consonant sounds, consonant blends, which are quite tricky, diphthongs, etc., etc. How well can you pronounce? See, I made a pronunciation mistake there myself. How well and accurately can you pronounce each word of the English language? If you do feel that your pronunciation is a little bit lacking in some areas and your teacher has said to you that you need some extra practice in that, make sure that you do address that, of course. But most people's pronunciation at this level is fairly good. But if something's flagged, work on it. Intonation, which is your pitch. How likely do you rise and fall in the English language? I'm doing some weird snake hands right now. I don't know what I'm doing. How well do you change your intonation? We use intonation to express extra meaning and clarity and even emotions as well. So we want to avoid speaking flat like a robot the entire time. We want to vary it to give extra meaning in the English language. And then finally, there's your accent. Common myth I always hear about the OET exam regarding accents. Oh, I need to sound like a native English speaker. I need to sound like an American or a British person or an Australian person, an Irish person, etc., etc. No, you don't. You do not need to do that. And I highly recommend that you don't try and play with accents unless you're very good at them and you've been told you're very good at them. Don't play with accents. What you do need to do is be aware or have been told in your feedback that your accent might have been particularly heavy, that it impedes understanding. Try your best then to neutralize it, which means just taking away that heavy accent. Okay? I'm doing it right now. I am neutralizing my accent. And to do that, I just speak a little bit slower and I draw out my sounds more. Two common tips to neutralizing your accent. Bring your speaking speed down a bit and draw out your sounds. That will be two things. Obviously, there's a lot more you can do depending on your accent. So two things that you can do to make it improve a bit, but don't try and replicate a native English speaking accents. Okay, there's a couple of tips there for your intelligibility. Let's now look at fluency, which is the impact of the speed and smoothness of your speech on your listeners' understanding. And a lot of people here today have already said that you consider fluency to be a key tripping point in your OET preparation. Another myth. I love busting OET myths in these sessions. Myth. Fluency is about speaking as fast as I can. I shouldn't think about anything else. Incorrect. It even says there in the criteria. I'll bring it back up again, guys. The impact of the speed and smoothness of your speech. So likewise, if you're speaking as fast as you can, but your smoothness is suffering, you're making lots of mistakes, you're causing repetition, hesitation, lots of self-correction, etc., well then you're not going to score very well for your fluency. It's all about a nice balance of speaking suitably fast so that your listener isn't straining to or wondering what you're going to say next, so that conversation can be concluded and communication can be effective, but also making sure that you're avoiding as much repetition, hesitation, etc., as well. So a tip I would typically have for fluency is those who speak particularly fast is bring it down a bit. You don't need to rush. And there are some people I know that can speak very, very rapidly. I'm being one. So just be conscious of your speaking speed. Think about the speed that you speak in your normal native language. Bring it down by about 20%, 20, 30%, okay, to speak slightly slower. That will then give your tongue a time to catch up with your brain, because a lot of the time we're speaking so fast, we're quite anxious too in an exam speaking situation, that can cause us to make mistakes when we're speaking. We can avoid that to an extent by just slowing it down a little bit, and that will hopefully result in less repetition, less issues, etc., etc. Of course, there's more to it, but that's one tip that we can address when we're doing our speaking. Okay, 2 tips. Let's have a look now at appropriateness of language, which is the impact of your language, tone, and professionalism on your listeners' understanding and comfort. So basically, do you sound suitably like a doctor or a nurse or a pharmacist? Are we using correct vernacular, correct tone, correct appropriate expressions? Are we being formal enough without being too rigid? Also, we're trying to avoid lots of informal expressions when we're speaking, of course. That is a bit of a balancing act, and I do think that a lot of most candidates are fairly good at speaking formally like a doctor or a nurse. But when it comes to communication, we want to also make sure that we're relating to the student by using a little bit of informal phrases here and there, but you need to know which are appropriate and which are not. Finally, we have resources of grammar and expression, which is the impact of your level of grammatical accuracy and vocabulary choices on your listeners' understanding. So key word for this criteria is grammatical accuracy, not grammatical range. This is not the IELTS exam or other exams where we need to show off to get a really, really high score. It only needs to be complicated enough to express and communicate ourselves effectively. So my advice would be, of course, to try and, of course, at C1 level, which is what OET is to get a B, you need to be using fairly complicated grammar and vocabulary, but make sure we're using it correctly. I always think if we can express something as simply as we can, but more accurately than doing something that's more complicated but inaccurately, always go for the former. But of course, be learning the appropriate vocabulary and grammar for your exam. And of course, age-old rule, age-old advice is to get feedback on how it's being applied so you know if you've hit that benchmark for the OET exam in advance of the exam itself. Okay, there's some tips on the linguistic criteria. Let's look now at the slightly trickier, unique OET criteria. That is the clinical communication criteria. 5 areas include relationship building, understanding and incorporating, providing structure, information gathering, and information giving. Let's look at number 1. What is relationship building in the OET speaking exam? Well, it is the impact of your choice of opening to the conversation and demonstration of empathy and respect on your listeners' comfort. I'm going to focus in 2 of these areas, guys. 1, opening of the conversation. Think very carefully about how you should address the patient at the very, very beginning. Remember, some of the consultations are completely new, some are follow-ups, some are routine checkups. So you need to be aware of that at the very beginning of the role play and begin that opening appropriately, depending if it's new or a follow-up or a consultation that's a routine checkup, etc., etc. Think about your tone. Think about what you're saying. Think about your phrasing, okay? Some people are very, very formal with the way they speak in the OET exam. Hello, my name is Dr. So-and-so. Have a seat. What's the problem? Ooh, not very warm, not very welcoming, right? Some are also far too informal. Hello, hi, how are you? How can I help you today? Okay, we need to think of something that's a bit more formal, but also warm and welcoming at the same time. So think about that. How can you put the patient at ease while addressing yourself appropriately like a doctor or a nurse should do? Secondly, empathy. How can we express empathy? What is empathy? Well, putting yourself in the patient's shoes and understanding how they're feeling and how they're processing a certain situation. You more than likely will get difficult role play case notes for the OET exam. And some will be difficult patients that are anxious, angry, irritated, annoyed, or some will just be going through a really, really hard time with their condition. That's why it's appropriate for us to use empathy effectively. Not just in the phrasing, but also in the way that we do express it in the exam too. And there's lots of lessons that we can have at empathy. My advice would be to get some feedback from OET teachers on how to express empathy effectively. Okay. Understanding and incorporating, which is the impact of how fully you involve the patient in the conversation on your listener's understanding and comfort. This one's really important, guys. Understanding and incorporating. Because what can happen sometimes when we're doing our OET practice, okay? We think that because we're the patient, we have so much information to give, all these case notes, this case note information and to give in 5 minutes. What we tend to do then is take over the conversation. Speak nonstop, speak for long periods of time without getting the patient involved. We have to get the patient involved in the conversation. We have to make it a dialogue. Yes, the candidate, as the professional, should be leading the conversation, but we can't be speaking even 90% of the time. It should be probably about 70-30 approximately. So find ways to get the patient involved. Think of the case note information. How can I make that into a question? How can I ask them questions about various things? How can I expand if necessary? How can I get them to give the information to me versus me just giving them the information on the card itself? It's a skill set. It does require time and it does require practice. Be aware of that. Get the patient involved, speaking about 30% of the time, approximately. Okay, we have then providing structure, which of course sounds pretty obvious, but the impact of how you organize the information you provide and introduce new topics for discussion on listeners' understanding. Okay, so how we take that case note information, how we organize it into an effective role play, and how we go through that case note in order, and how we even expand upon the case notes to give more areas of information if need be. Believe it or not, number one, some candidates ask me, hey, can I change the order of this role play? And I say, well, you don't have to, really. It just might make it more complicated for yourself. The case notes have been set out, the bullet points that you can actually follow through in order from beginning until end. So I would just recommend you just staying with the case note as it is. It begins with the consultation. It begins with the objective at the end, how you're going to help the patient, what the next steps are. Just stick through the case notes in order and think about how much time you should be dedicating to each bullet point in the card as well, while thinking about areas that you can expand upon as well. Keep it structured, keep it organized. There's no need to rearrange things as some candidates ask to do. Finally, we have information gathering and information giving, and these two criteria are interlinked. Information gathering, well, what is that? The impact of questions you ask and how you listen to the responses on your listener's understanding. Likewise, information giving is the impact of how you provide information and check this information is being understood on your listener's comfort and understanding. So information gathering, likewise, to understand and incorporate in the exam, you need to ask questions. And information gathering is seeing how well you can ask questions and get the information that you need. The information gathering is about those open questions, how you can ask them some content-based questions about what's happening in the role play card. So basically what they're experiencing, how they're feeling, what they're doing about this, how you can get more information from the patient by taking that information from the card. Can we ask open questions, get the patient involved, and express them effectively? Secondly is information giving. How we ask the questions, information gathering, receive that information from the patient, and then we give information back to them based on what they've said. This will often involve our consultation with what's happening with the patient's queries that they've said before. But how can we provide that information back to them that's friendly, concise, and clear? Also, how can we check it's being understood? And this is something that's often overlooked in the OET exam. But how can we ask closed questions to check for understanding? So, for example, a patient has given me lots of information about how they're feeling about something and what needs to be done next. I give that information back to them. I use a lot of maybe complicated terms that might be in the role play itself, a lot of steps in terms of the procedure. How do I know that they've actually understood that and processed this? Well, that's where you check for understanding. Use a variety of phrases such as, how is this for you? Is this okay for you? How do you feel about this? Etc., etc. It's a yes, no answer. Oh, I'm okay with this. Yes, that's fine. Or no, a little bit more information is needed. You need to ask those those closed questions to check for understanding throughout the role play when you're giving your detailed information about that criteria. If you don't, you won't score very highly for this criteria. So that's why, of course, learning the criteria, knowing what's needed, getting feedback on that is really, really important. One to avoid, though, and I hear quite often, is when a candidate says, do you understand? That makes me feel like I'm back in school. When a teacher says, hey, do you understand? Do you understand, Scott? Don't do it. Don't use that phrase. It can be a little bit passive aggressive. So likewise, it's important for you to learn what you need to do to say, to ask these closed questions, but also learn which phrases are appropriate and which are not in the clinical communication criteria section. Okay, guys, there's a few tips and a bit of a run through the OET speaking criteria. I hope that you did find that useful. So let's now get into the next part of the class. Okay, so what we're going to be doing now is getting into our mock speaking practice. Of course, I want to give you guys some chance to do some mock speaking practice. Here I have I'm going to actually go full screen with this again, are a series of questions that you can use for yourself. You can take these away with you. There are a series of questions which give you a bit of qualitative answers in how well someone like yourself or someone you're practicing with has done with their OET speaking practice. It basically gets asked a few questions to assess, in a way, how they've done in various areas. So we've got linguistic criteria, we've got 5 questions, and clinical communication criteria. We also have 4 questions too. So I'm going to be using these to give some people some feedback today, some general feedback on the OET exam practice that we are going to be doing today. Okay, so I'm going to address one thing before we get started. Some candidates are going to ask me today, hey, how did so-and-so score? How did they do? What was their score? Just to let you guys know that I will not and cannot score anyone today. Scoring is not done by the interlocutor. Scoring is done by examiners after the fact. The interlocutor is only here to provide and assist the facilitation of the role play, but to score it is done by 2 assessors listening to a recording who spend time. So if I was giving a score today, it would be disingenuous. So I will not be doing that, but I will be giving you some pointers in each areas I think you've done well or areas that I think that you can possibly improve on. Just wanted to address that to everyone first before we begin. Okay. All right, guys. Now let's get started. Here is the first role play card today. I'm going to address medicine candidates first. This is how this is going to work, guys. You're going to see very, very soon a link in the feed that you're watching in. So if you're watching in Facebook, you're watching in YouTube, keep an eye out in the comment feed for a link. It'll say StreamYard on it, and it'll say something like, doctors, join here. Nurses, join here. No, it's a safe link. It's fine. That will then bring you into the studio with me, and then I will give those who have entered the studio a chance to get some speaking practice with me today. Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to give everyone some speaking practice today, of course, but if anyone, of course, is interested in that, I will be telling you more about some of our packages at Swoosh English, which do have speaking practice with native English expert qualified teachers like myself. Okay, we go through a very similar process in the class ourselves. So keep an eye out, guys, for that link. If you are coming in today, make sure, of course, that ideally your camera is on. You've got a good working microphone. Your environment is quiet as well. I know it can't be avoided sometimes, but as quiet as possible. And that your internet connection is reasonably stable, because if the internet connection is not stable, I will have to give someone else a chance to do the role play with me. Okay. So guys, I'm going to go full screen with this, start the timer for 3 minutes. I'm going to give everyone approximately 3 minutes to practice like the OET exam itself. And then I'm going to invite you guys into the session. Keep an eye out for the link, and come and join me if you want to do some OET speaking practice with myself. Looking forward to it, guys. See you in a moment. Happy preparing for this role play if you are a doctor. Okay, everybody, thank you very much for taking the time to prepare. The 3 minutes approximately is up. So I'm now going to give one of our candidates a chance to do some speaking practice with me today. So I'm going to give Nan Tan a chance to do some speaking with me today. Hello there, Nan. How are you?
Hello, Scott.
Very nice to meet you. How are you today?
I'm really good.
Really good. Well, that's good to hear. Nan, tell me a bit about yourself. Where are you from? Where are you living? What you do? What your dreams are once you pass your OET exam?
Okay, I'm from Myanmar, and I've been studying for OET for about 2 months. And it's always been my dream to go to UK and get into a training program, because as there are no family medicine training program in our country, so it's always been my dream to get into a family medicine training program in UK.
Amazing, amazing, fantastic. So have you been preparing for your OET exam for long, or are you brand new to preparation?
Well, I've prepared for my OET exam intensively for about 2 months.
Okay, very, very good. And when are you taking your exam? Do you have a plan yet?
Well, I have my speaking test on December 3rd and
Oh,
other three skills on December 4th.
oh, and are you feeling prepared?
Well, I'm trying my best.
Try your best. That's a great answer. Okay, well, there's about 2 weeks of preparation left. So keep the intensive practice up, make use of whatever expert feedback that you're getting, and well, enjoy the feedback that you're going to get today with me for doing some speaking practice, okay?
Okay, thank you, Scott.
Are you feeling ready? You feeling prepared? You feeling relaxed?
Okay, I guess so.
Yeah, just take a few deep breaths. You know, I do that sometimes when I'm feeling anxious. Just breathe deeply a little bit, and it really, really helps. Okay. So I'll bring up the role play card now. And Nan, I'll give you a chance to just start speaking whenever you feel ready. As soon as you start speaking, I'll start the timer for 5 minutes. I am going to keep it strictly to approximately 5 minutes, or having a few questions in the feed that I can see. Should I keep it to 5 minutes? Ideally, as much as you can. Yes, it's not strict, but try and keep your role play within 5 minutes. You don't want to significantly go over or significantly go under the time. Okay.
Okay. So should I start up?
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, so good evening. I'm Dr. Tay, one of the treating doctors here at this clinic. How may I address you?
Oh, hi, Dr. Tay. Thanks for seeing me today. My name's Scott.
Okay, so how may I help you today?
Well, I'm here because I've been feeling pretty bad recently. I've been much more tired and much more unwell than I used to be. And I've got some really weird symptoms in regards to that too that I'd like to discuss with you today.
Oh, I see. Would you mind if I ask you some more questions about your symptoms?
Yes, please, doctor. Thanks.
So how long have you been feeling this tiredness?
It's weird. It's been more than recently. It's been accompanied by a few other things, such as some dizzy fits. I've been much more thirsty than I used to be, drinking a lot more. Even going upstairs has made me a bit breathless. Normally it hadn't. And I have had a lot of itchy skin recently, especially around my forearms and my calves. So I'm just a bit concerned about what this might mean.
Oh, I see. Apart from these, are there any other symptoms?
No real symptoms apart from that, but I think that's quite a lot, right, doctor?
Okay. So did you do anything to relieve these symptoms?
Such as activities, medicine, etc., etc. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Admittedly, doctor, I'm a very, very, very busy person. I work an office job full time. I've got 3 kids to look after, so I don't have time to do anything else about it, really.
Oh, I see. You must be really busy.
Very busy.
Okay. So, according to your symptoms, it seems like you have an unbalanced lifestyle with your work and your diet and exercise. Is that correct?
Well, it would seem so, right? I work, I look after my kids, I don't exercise, my diet isn't great. And admittedly, I am concerned that this could be diabetes because I've looked up the symptoms.
I see. So you've mentioned that you have tiredness and itchy around itchy on the skins
Mhm.
and feeling thirsty. Is that correct?
That's right, yes.
Okay, so according to your symptoms, it seems likely that you have got a condition known as diabetes. Have you
Mm.
ever heard of this condition?
Yeah, I watched an advertisement on TV, read it in the newspaper, did a Google search. I know you should never Google your symptoms, but it seems likely that this is what it could be. I'm also quite overweight, as you can see. So, what happens now, doctor?
So first, let me reassure you that this is a totally manageable condition. But first of all, to explain you more about the diabetes, there are two types of diabetes. Type 1 is which happens when insulin is not produced in your body, and type 2 is when there is not enough insulin in your body. Does that make sense?
Yes. Which one do you think I have, doctor?
Well, it's most probably the type 2 because it is the type 1 diabetes is common in children. Am I clear so far?
Yes. Regardless if I have that or that, am I going to be checked now? And if I do have diabetes, what are the next steps?
That's a very good question. So to confirm the diagnosis, I will do some blood tests first, and then the results will be ready next week. And so I will see you back and next week. But before that, I'd like to advise you to adjust your health and your lifestyle. I know it must be really difficult for you with your busy schedule, but it will be beneficial.
Yeah, sure. So I know what I probably have to do, right? But can you give me some recommendations on how much exercise I should do, what I should eat, or point me in the direction of this?
That's a very good question. Well, regarding diet, it is really important to eat healthy food. Even if you can't eat home cooked meal, you can get some healthy vegetables and fruits in the restaurant. Regarding exercise, it would be beneficial if you could take up 30 minutes a day of regular exercise for about 3 times a week. How does that sound?
I'll try and look into finding something that's interesting, right? I'll do something. It's better than nothing. So, yeah, I'm a bit concerned about this, but I'd like to know what the next steps then are, apart from the blood test afterwards.
So, if the diagnosis is confirmed that you have diabetes, then maybe I'll refer you to the endocrinologist to discuss further treatment and investigations. Am I
Okay,
clear so
okay.
far?
Yes, that's the most sensible thing to do. Mhm.
Okay, so to summarize, I've explained you about your diagnosis and about recommendations of the lifestyles and the tests, the possible blood tests. And so, do you have any other questions?
I think that's everything for me, Doctor. Thanks for seeing me today. I understood what this could be and what has to happen next. So we'll see how the results go.
Okay, so thank you for coming to see me. So I'll see you next week with the results.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and that is the end of the role play. Well done. How do you feel? How did it go for you?
Well, um, I think it went quite well.
You think it went quite well? That's good. You have to have confidence in yourself. And I'm very happy to say that when I asked you how it went, the first thing that you said was a positive thing. Most candidates go straight towards criticizing themselves. Oh, what I didn't do well. So I want you to think very carefully to reflect on your strengths and your weaknesses, Dr. Tay. I want you to think about one thing you think you're good at when it comes to speaking and OET practice, and maybe one thing that you think is a weakness that you can work on.
Maybe hesitations. I sometimes thought blocks, and then I hesitate for quite a period of time.
Okay, well, if I thought that you were hesitating, I wouldn't have heard that really in your language, because your language, actually, you're able to produce the language fairly quickly. Maybe you're hesitating in your head, but it doesn't really translate to your fluency in your speaking. So I didn't really notice that as a big issue. What about something you think you're very good at? Tell you what, I'll let you think about it. You can tell me. You can tell me after the feedback today, okay? I want you to think about it. Be aware of the strength, and I'll confirm if it is a good thing as well, which it more than likely will be. Okay.
Okay,
So
okay.
let's go through. the assessment criteria here. Okay, so I'm going to go through and give you a bit of verbal feedback on each of the areas of the OET speaking assessment. Okay, first of all, were you a clear speaker and were you easy to understand? Great. Lovely intonation, lovely pitch of voice, nice and clear. So yeah, very, very clear in regards to that. Nothing overly, I would say. Definitely B level for that particular criteria for sure, because you sound very, very good. Did you vary your pronunciation, intonation relevantly? I thought you did actually. Your pronunciation, there was only a couple of small things that I heard, such as the word diabetes. I heard diabetes. It's a long E, diabetes, not diabetes. And there may have been a few other small errors here and there, but your pronunciation for the most part was quite accurate. And your intonation, it varied. No, you rose when you're asking a question, you lowered at the end of the sentence to indicate that the point had ended. So the intonation patterns were quite accurate. Well done. Did you speak fluently and smoothly with few hesitations and false starts? I would say you did. I mean, there was the occasional time where you went, and you were thinking about the content of what to say, the point, but you weren't searching for language, so to say. So I thought that overall your fluency and smoothness was very, very good. Well done in that. Speaker, use appropriate language and tone. I think that you came across as a suitably professional doctor, like you should, but also able to, relate to me and use some idiomatic language at times too. So I thought that was very appropriate. And did you use relevant and correct vocabulary and grammatical structures? When I'm doing it, obviously, as an interlocutor, I don't have time to write down all of the errors that are made, etc. So I might have overlooked a few small things, but I never picked up on anything that was a major issue in regards to your vocabulary or grammar. I did hear one thing, though, and that was you have itchy skins.
Oh,
so will we use skin in the plural in this case?
No.
Yeah, we wouldn't say
uncountable nouns.
Uncountable noun. You only have one skin. You don't have different skins, right? So you have itchy skin, itchy skins. Okay. Small error, things like that. There, nothing to be worried about. That would be something of concern taking your OET exam. Okay. So well done, linguistic criteria. You're flying with that. You're doing really, really well. Let's look at the clinical communication criteria. Did the speaker speak in a way that offered empathy and support? I think that it was quite good, but there was a few areas of empathy that I personally thought you probably could have picked up on. I'll go back to the role play card here briefly. But for example, when I said you told me I had diabetes, you were supposed to express on the card itself, reassure the patient about his or her symptoms, different possible causes. Diabetes, only one of them, it can be managed. You didn't express that to me. So that would also be some content that might have been missed in the card. So you just said, you have diabetes. I was like, what? I have diabetes? Imagine how I would have felt, But you should express me saying, you could have diabetes, it might not. If you do, it's manageable, and there could be potential different causes, etc. So a bit more empathy and reassurance could have been given with that aspect of diabetes, which would have expressed the empathy too. You could have probably used a bit more empathetic phrasing as well when you're given the information, such as, I'm sorry you feel like this, or I understand this must be hard for you, etc. Think about direct ways we can offer empathy with empathetic phrasing, but make sure, of course, that we are following the card and expressing via the content of the card about how you shouldn't be worried about this. It might not be this. It can be treated, etc. Okay, just a couple of small things regarding the content that could have been picked up on. Did they listen to the patient and respond effectively and appropriately? Well, yeah, you were a great listener. You were great. You asked some great questions. So your information gathering, information giving was amazing. You got me involved throughout the conversation, which was amazing. And you listened to what I said. You answered appropriately for the most part as well. So really, really well done with that. Was the delivery of the information structured appropriately? Mostly, but you changed a few things around, I noticed. You noticed that yourself, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so for example, we'll go back to the card here. You kind of move the outline next step section up here, and then move this section down here. So think about your order. I know it can be tricky when you're anxious and you're in the exam and you're trying to think about how to do things next, but you can just stick to the role play from beginning to end. You don't need to vary things. And it can make things a bit trickier, right? If you're thinking, oh, I need to try and rearrange this, that can take away from giving your role play at the end of the day too. Okay. Likewise, when you asked me as well, what do you know about diabetes? And I said, oh, I learned things from Google and TV and the newspaper. You might want to expand upon your knowledge of what diabetes is and what it happens. For example, sugar not clear from the blood. How can we manage medication, diet, exercise, and monitoring of blood glucose? You didn't explain all of this to me. So there are a few areas of the content of the card that were probably skipped on just a little bit, okay? It is really important that we try and use the card, the information on the card as effectively as possible, okay? So a couple of content things missing, and just keep the role play beginning to end. No need to vary things and change the order of things around. Overall, was I satisfied with delivery of your information? I think in terms of what had to happen next was clear. I thought that the way you presented yourself and spoke to me, it was lovely. You're an expert, you're a great speaker, and you communicate effectively. But I probably would have been a bit shocked that I had diabetes and wanted some more reassurances from you. And I probably could have benefited from more information about what diabetes was, what exactly the condition is, if I have it, and how it can be dealt with afterwards. Okay. One small final point I want to put value to, Dr. Tay, is that the role play was 6 minutes and 17 seconds long. So we need to think about our time management as well. The first section of the role play probably going to be a bit more concise. Got straight into how are you feeling? Okay, how are you feeling with this? Okay, this is what we do next. Okay, well, expressing the empathy when you choose to. I think that you maybe asked a few too many questions at times, which kind of like expanded the role play. It's a big balance. Okay, and regarding a structured role play, go through from beginning to end. And in terms of time management, when it's appropriate to ask questions, and maybe when we think we should be moving on from point to point. If you think about it, there's is there. So I'm now going to give 5 bullet points here. And then you have to time mostly for your introduction and your conclusion at the very, very end, your salutations, which probably take about 30 seconds. There's probably about 45 seconds to 50 seconds per bullet point to time it within 5 minutes. Say 30 seconds for your introduction salutation, 30 seconds so for I'm going to give one of our candidates a chance to do some speaking and then the 5 minutes the bullet point at the very, very end. So think about your time management in regards to that as well. Okay. But apart from that, Dr. Tay, it was a great role play. Just think about your content, think about expressing empathy, and think about your time management with 3 areas I would think you to head off and work on a little bit. But apart from that, it was going great. How does that sound for you? Oh no, she's gone. I'm just giving her the feedback, and unfortunately she has dropped out. Dr. Tay, if you're still watching, I hope you enjoyed that role play today. Come back into the studio at the very, very end, and I'll just get that opinion from you at the very, very end too. But unfortunately, there seems to be an internet droppage there. But well done if you're still watching. It was a very amazing role play, and I hope everyone else enjoyed that role play as well. So guys, thanks a lot for listening to Dr. Tay as part of that role play. Throw a few comments into the chat box yourself. Let me know how you thought that she got on. Give your own opinions, give your own feedback. I'm sure she'd be more than happy to see some of that and find some of that very, very interesting for her own role plays. I also love reading the comments too, so I would love to see some of them as well. Okay, guys, we're about 10 o'clock UK time. We got time for, of course, one more role play, another 15, 20 minutes of this class. I want to make sure everyone comes here to get what they need. But before I go into the next role play, I, of course, want to offer anyone who's interested in taking part in their OET, taking part in a quality OET provider, and to tell you about our discount code that we're going to be offering. What is there we go. I'm looking for that one. So guys, if you're interested, as I said at the very start of the class, we're currently offering at Swoosh English 20% off selected OET courses. We're an OET premium preparation provider. We're also an OET All-Star. We've been doing this for 8 years. So I would love to welcome any of you who are thinking about getting feedback from the mock speaking like you've done with me today, and improving with qualitative feedback, their OET performance. That's a good time for you to come on board with us at Swoosh English if you're very, very interested, of course. So if you're interested, all you need to do is take this code, OET Live 20 off, copy that code, input it as a coupon code on the Swoosh English website. You can see the information at the bottom, swooshenglish.com, and you will get 20% off selected OET preparation courses. It's only available for 48 hours until midnight Sunday, and only for the first 15 people who join. But I'd be more than happy to welcome as many of you to come on board with us at Swoosh English as possible. I've also sent in some recommendations, guys. What I think is the best package for the two different typical candidates that we have. You'll see that in the comments on YouTube and on Facebook. Typically, we have two candidates who are looking for a short-term crash course, who are taking their exam within 1 month, and those who are taking their exam a bit longer than that. Maybe they're taking it a few months or maybe a year, etc. later. So come on board, guys. Use that discount code, and I'd be very, very happy to have you in our OET preparation courses. Okay, just check the links there in the Facebook feed and the YouTube feed, and you can come on board and join us. Remember, OET Live 20. See the code at the very bottom of the screen there at swooshenglish.com. I'll keep it up on the screen for everyone. Okay, guys. Second role play today now is for our nursing candidates, of course. So role play number 2. Once again, the procedure is going to be the exact same as last time, guys. We're going to have 3 minutes of preparation time. I'll start the timer. I'll put the case notes, the role play case notes, full screen on the screen. You'll see a link that says nurses come and join. Click in that link if you're interested in coming in. Make sure, of course, your camera's on, ideally. You've got a good working microphone, a quiet environment, and a stable internet connection. And then I'll give you a chance to do some OET mock speaking practice with me, guys. Thank you very much. I'll start the timer now for 3 minutes. Put the role play card full screen. Take your time to prepare, of course, during the time, and come in and join me if you are interested. Thank you very much, and speak to you all in a moment. Okay, guys, we're ready to rock and roll. We're 3 minutes in. So thanks a lot for taking the time to do some preparation there for the 3 minutes. We're going to go through our nursing role play now. So there's a couple of people have joined. I'd love, of course, to give you all a bit of chance to do some speaking practice today. But we've had one person who's been in here waiting very, very patiently. So I'm going to give this person the first chance to do some practice today. And that is Liesel. Liesel, are you able to turn on your camera? And I'll add you to the stream and give you a chance to do some speaking practice with me. Hello, Liesel.
Hello, Scott.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Nice to meet you. Tell me a bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm a nurse here in the Philippines, and I'm applying for UK.
You're applying to come to the UK. Very good. And how long have you been preparing for your OET exam?
I started reviewing since May.
Since May. And have
The,
you taken the exam before?
I haven't, but I tried IELTS before.
Tried the IELTS exam before. And are you feeling confident about your OET exam?
Not that much, but I'm going to have my exam on December 4th. That's why I need to be ready.
Okay. Well, let's give you a bit of extra speaking practice today. I'd be more than happy to help you out with a bit of speaking practice today in advance of your big exam on December 4th. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. So, Liesel, I'm just going to load up the case notes on the screen now. As last time, I will start the timer whenever you feel ready, and we'll go through a bit of OET mock speaking practice today. Okay? So this is probably a card everyone who's watching Liesel as well. Everyone relates to exam stress. How do we deal with exam stress? Imagine this is you on the other side of this case notes. You know, you're freaking out about your OET exam and you want a professional to help you. Okay. So put yourself in my shoes because I'm going to be acting very stressed today, a bit like maybe some of you guys are going to be doing for your OET exam too. Okay, Liesel?
Okay.
Whenever you're ready, you can begin.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Lizelle, and I'm one of the community nurses here. How may I help you?
Hi, Lizelle. Thanks a lot for seeing me today. I'm feeling it right now. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I've been really anxious recently. Um, I don't know what to say, but it's never been this bad before.
Okay. So, um, you're being anxious right now. Am I correct?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's because I got an exam coming up very soon, and I hate exams. I hate presentations. I hate speaking.
Mm-hmm. So I understand about your concern. Um, would you like to share to me what's making you anxious? About your upcoming exam? Is there anything that bothers you? If,
Yeah, it's everything, nurse. It's like the preparation, the stakes. I have to do well in these exams to go well in my year and impress my parents. You know, it's everything about the stress of it.
oh, I see. So is this your first time that you've been experiencing this being anxious or
Ah,
worried your exam?
no, I have experienced this before. I do have these symptoms appear every so often, nurse, but it's never been as bad as this.
Okay, I see. So is there anything that you think that might trigger your anxiousness or being worried at all?
Yeah, well, it's the exam, isn't it? And the stress of it.
Okay. So perhaps you've been experiencing panic attacks. Do you have any idea about it?
I have experienced some panic attacks before. Yeah, I'm aware this is what this might be. I can feel it kind of coming right now. Um, Do you think this is a more serious problem, though, nurse? Because I get them sometimes, and they seem to be getting worse. So I'd like to get some information on that.
Okay, regarding your concern, it is mostly a normal response of being anxious, especially when you're triggered of something that makes you nervous or anxious. But you don't need to be overly concerned about it because I'm here to help you so that you will be able to do your normal task, especially during your examination. How does that sound?
Well, yeah, if it's normal, that's really reassuring. I'm not convinced. I'm still kind of worried, but it'd be great to know what I can do to manage these symptoms.
Okay. So about your concern, I could suggest some ways on how you can prevent being anxious on the day of your exam. So would you like me to elaborate it to you?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So firstly, you can manage doing what you like, especially when you're comfortable with it. So you need to go to a quiet place so you can think about how you could manage your anxiety. So you can also visualize something peaceful. You can also practice healthy habits like having rested well, or you
Mhm.
can eat your favorite foods, and you should also, most importantly, should have enough sleep before your examination. So how would you be able to do all those things?
I could try quiet spaces, meditation, something peaceful. Those things are probably something that I can definitely try.
Okay, that's good to hear, Scott. So, regarding your concern also, I would like to recommend if you could attend in the community health center for your weekly visit so that we can monitor your condition, and you can also try relaxing, and you should also, or during your examination you could also try deep breathing exercises so that you can concentrate in your examination. So how do you think you would be able to do that?
Can I ask, nurse, what the community health center will do for me?
The community health center, in which I am having my duty there, so we will be able to
Mhm.
help you, especially when you're anxious or when you're having panic attacks. So we can give you advices, or we can conduct relaxation techniques in which you can use it on your daily life.
Okay. And how often will that happen?
You can go there every week, and
Okay.
if you're having severe panic attacks, you can also come there. So, do you have any more questions?
Sure. Thank you very much for that information, nurse. Thanks for reassuring me that they're normal, that they're not something more serious, and that there's things that I can do to manage them. So I'll take your advice. I'll come to the community health center each week, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Okay, that's good to hear, Scott, and I hope to see you there. And good luck on your exams.
Thank you, Doctor Nurse Lizelle. Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome.
And that's the end of the role play. Lizelle, how did it go for you?
I'm very nervous because this is my first time actually doing my speaking examination with a professional.
Okay, well, as you can see, there's a massive benefit of doing it with a professional, right? Because there's someone here who's going through the procedure with you. You're practicing it in line what you have to do, and you're going to get some valuable feedback from it as well. So well done for making it your first time. What is your main strength in your speaking? What are you good at, in your opinion?
Basically, I think my strength is my fluency in English. I think so.
Okay. Okay. Yep, you're fairly fluent overall. What do you think is something you should work on based on that role play we did today?
I think information gathering and showing empathy.
Okay. So
My,
thanks a lot for. Sorry, I'm speaking over you, Lizelle. Go ahead.
um, that's all, I think.
Okay, good to know. I will go through now some of that information with you about things that I picked up you were good at, and a few pointers in areas that I think we can make some improvements in as well.
Okay.
So I'll just show you the criteria. So first of all, were you a clear speaker and easy to understand? Lovely clear accent, lovely clear intonation, lovely clear enunciation. Every time that you were speaking, there was nothing about any of that that impeded your understanding whatsoever. So well done with that. Did you vary your pronunciation and intonation relevantly? I think for the most part, yes. I didn't pick up any real major pronunciation errors, and I think your intonation was also quite well expressed too. So well done. Did you speak fluently and smoothly with few hesitations and false starts? Now, while there were a lot of hesitations and false starts, overall your fluency was good. There were a few times where maybe you did stop speaking or you were searching for something else to say. Not necessarily because of your language, but maybe you were thinking, oh, maybe I should say something else content related here and there. That still might be a hesitation as well. So it's important for you to organize what you're saying to avoid any of that from happening. But in terms of your language-based fluency, it was nice and smooth and nice and flow. A nice flow. Did you use appropriate language and tone? Yes, I think that you did for the most part. I'll go more into the empathy at the very bottom in regards to clinical communication criteria, but I thought that you spoke relatively appropriately for a nurse in the situation. Well done.
Mm-mm.
And did you use relevant and correct vocabulary and grammatical structures? No one's grammar or vocabulary is ever going to be perfect. Don't worry. And I can't pick up on everything, but I did pick up on a few collocation issues as well as a countable issue that I picked up on. Okay, so you told me, would you like to share to me? Do you share to someone?
Okay.
No, you share with someone. Would you like to share with me? So I share with someone, share with something. Okay. You said elaborate to you. Do you elaborate to someone in this situation? Once again, you elaborate with this situation. Elaborate. No, sorry, not elaborate with. Elaborate for you. Apologies. Elaborate for you in this situation. Okay. Would you like me to elaborate this for you? Okay. Last thing you said was give you advices. Is advices countable?
It's uncountable.
Uncountable. So small errors, just small errors here I picked up in terms of your grammatical usage. Quite minor, but things to be aware of as well. Collocations with share and collocations with elaborate, okay, as well as advice. We say advice, not advices, okay?
Yeah.
But apart from that, well done for overall being fairly good at all those aspects. So I want to go now through the clinical communication criteria with you. Did you speak in a way that offered empathy and support? Your response in general was lacking empathy to me. I didn't really feel the empathy. I think that you were still good at going through that with me, but I was clearly someone who was, about to start crying. I was in a clear panic. I was in a really bad situation. So you need to try and express that empathy and make me feel it as well during the role play. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that you feel this way, Scott, or whoever it is. Don't worry. It's all going to be fine. We're going to make sure that you're okay and there's nothing to worry about. Find ways to express empathy in scenarios where a patient is angry, scared, tired, sad, etc., etc. Okay? So learn those empathetic phrases, really, really study them and get some practice with them ideally before the day of the exam so you can use them effectively. Okay. Did you listen to the patient and respond effectively and appropriately? I did think for the most part, yeah, you listened to what I said, you asked appropriate questions, and you did respond effectively for the most part in regarding that. Was the delivery of the information structured appropriately? There were a few things regarding the structure which I think probably could have improved on. First thing, Lizelle, was you didn't ask me about any of my symptoms. What is it? How long do they last for? What are the previous occurrences, etc.? So you didn't actually ask me about what I was feeling to diagnose if I had a panic attack or not. That's really, really important to do. Okay, so you kind of missed that area there, and you probably could have expanded more upon this information here. Okay, made it more relatable, such as what do you can even ask me questions about that. What do you do to relax, Scott? What do you do? And then use that information to relate the appropriate information to me too. So there were a few areas of the role play that could have been structured more appropriately and maybe were missed out on. Totally understand, by the way, when we're doing a role play, it can be very, very easy to miss out on that. But it's important that we include that content and go through it in as much information as possible. Likewise, you told me community health center, but you didn't tell me where it is, how often it is, what we will do there. I had to ask that myself. So it would be inappropriate to expand upon this information here in the brackets overall. So think about your structure and what you're asking there as well. That's very, very important. Overall, was I satisfied delivering information? For the most part, I was, but I from reflecting upon it, I didn't really know if you could say for sure it was a panic attack. You didn't actually expand upon my symptoms. You didn't tell me what I was doing in the community center until I asked. And I didn't really feel a lot of empathy from you in the situation too. That made me feel a bit more nervous in this scenario. Okay, so a few key areas to work on, Liesel: expressing empathy, structuring your role play, also your time management to a certain extent too. It came in at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So like I told our doctor friend earlier on in this session too, we got 5 bullet points. We got to have time for our opening salutations and closing salutations, which were good, by the way. Nice and friendly opening, nice and friendly finishing. We need to think about how we can manage our time. So about 40 seconds, 50 seconds per bullet point, we have to move on. So we have to move through it fairly rapidly. Okay. How was that for you? How do you feel about that, Liesel? I'm practicing my empathy in closed questions.
Most of your comments were, I think, for me, that's all that I need to improve, because I'm also aware about it. But it's having a speaking role play with you is very helpful for me. So on the day of my exam, I would be able to use those comments so that I can improve my speaking role play. Thank you so much.
Sure. You're very, very welcome, Liesel. Ideally, I would recommend that you get some more practice in with that criteria with someone who's an expert teacher in advance of that to maximize your chances of passing that exam on the day. Because it's not just learning the comments, but applying them, getting more feedback on what you've learned, rinsing and repeating, and improving over time. Okay?
Yes, I will, surely. Thank you, Scott.
You're very welcome, Liesel. Nice to meet you. Have a great day and best of luck with your exam on December 4th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, and that was Nurse Liesel in the session today. Well done. Thank you, Liesel, for joining us, and well done for taking part in the OET exam mock speaking practice with me today. So, guys, that brings our OET mock speaking session role plays to a close. Throw in some comments. How do you think that Dr. Nie and Nurse Liesel got on today? Throw some comments into the feedback and let me know how you also enjoyed this class today. I really, really hope that you did. So throw in some comments. Make sure, of course, you give us a like on the Facebook page. You throw a comment. You subscribe on the YouTube channel as well, as I love hearing people's comments and feedback on that class today. Take note of some of the feedback that I did give today, because some of that feedback likely applies to you. The most important takeaway from that is, of course, know what you're good at, know what you need to work on in advance of the exam. Get an expert to tell you that. Make sure you work on your mistakes, you reassess yourself until you're ready to pass in the exam, because you've been certified that you're able to do so. It's the cheapest and quickest way to pass your OET exam, and that is a certified fact. So guys, once again, before I finish this class off, I want to remind you about our special offer that we have right now at Swoosh English. We're currently offering 20% off our OET preparation courses for this weekend and for this weekend only. I'll just bring up the slide. So as a reminder, let me see. Yep, 20% off selected OET courses for this weekend only. Now has been a better time for anyone to think about a way of joining us at Swoosh English to helping you pass your OET exam with our mock classes, our mock exams, our video courses, our writing corrections. We have a structure course ready to go to help you pass your OET exam the very, very first time. So all you need to do to get 20% off from today is to enter discount code OET Live 20 off as the coupon. That's OET Live 20 off. You see it at the bottom of the screen there as well in the coupon code section on the OET and the Swoosh English website itself. As a reminder, this is not going to be going on forever. We can only run this offer for 2 days until midnight Sunday. So make sure you take advantage of this offer ASAP and don't miss out on that. If you're interested, of course, in some course recommendations, here they come now, guys, because we've got a lot of packages, different offers, and we want to make sure that everyone has the beneficial package for them. If your exam is in less than 6 weeks, that's many people here, you need short, intensive practice to guarantee anyone to take their exam and pass it the first time. It's not too late. You can still do it, but the time is shorter. And guess what? Most of our students are looking for 4-week, 2-week, 3-week preparation courses at Swoosh English. And that's why our intensive package is perfect for you. You can see the links there in the comments, guys, to the intensive package. It's a short-term crash course designed to help someone who needs a short amount of time to take their OET exam and to pass it, okay? If you're new to OET and not booked your exam, you're thinking, okay, I'm going to wait until I think I'm ready, and then I'm going to take the exam after that. Well, of course, I recommend that to anyone. Only take your exam when you're ready to pass it. Do not rush it. But if you're new to the exam, have not booked yet, it could be 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, etc., then our deluxe package is correct for you. It's a longer course, and also was designed for someone who has a bit longer for the preparation. So you'll see the links there, guys, for the deluxe and the intensive package. You can get 20% off those 2 courses, for example, with our code OET Live 20 off. If you're interested in any more information, well, make sure you come to our website, swooshenglish.com. Come and follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/swooshenglish. Instagram.com, where we have quizzes and other information, Instagram.com/swooshenglish, and our YouTube channel, where we host other live classes and other video content, youtube.com/swooshenglish as well. So guys, our next session, we do these monthly now, will be Friday, 17th of December at 9 a.m. UK time. So make sure you, of course, come and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You'll then be up to date with all of the information which will be coming in the future for our next classes. Our next OET mock speaking session by myself will be on December 17th UK time, 9 a.m. So make sure you're ready for that if you're still preparing for your OET exam. So guys, thank you so much for coming along today. Loving your comments, by the way. Thanks very much for telling me that you appreciated the session today. I, of course, appreciate all of you guys for coming along as well. And I love to help as many people pass their OET exams as possible. So I'm looking forward to seeing as many of you pass your OET exam as possible. But of course, if you're looking for extra support for your OET exam and give yourself a higher chance of passing the first time, I'd highly recommend that you come on board, have a look at us, take up one of those offers today. I'd love to have you in my classroom. So anyone who's taking the OET exam very, very soon, aka on the 4th of December or sooner, best of luck from myself at Swoosh English, from myself, Scott, and from the team at Swoosh English as well. I hope you do it. I want you to ace your dreams, to realize your dreams, move the country of your choice, start your new career, and yeah, shoot for the stars. Anyone can do that today, but take the right approach in doing so. Thanks a lot for letting me speak today, guys. Have a great day. Make sure, of course, you come and check us out, of course, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Have a great day, everyone, and good luck to everyone taking their exam once again. Take care and goodbye.